What is the Electoral College?
It's how we vote in America.
It's like a group of people that basically have like the final decision.
I'm pretty sure it is added up by the representatives, the House seats, well, the House seats and then the Senate seats.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, they didn't do that bad.
No.
From the Electoral College.
They were in the village.
Yeah. All right, from the Electoral College to the Constitution to where your tax money goes, author Ben Sheehan is breaking down the fundamentals of government in his new PBS series called Civics Made Easy.
And Lord, does America need this. Joining us now with a crash course on how American democracy really works without the confusion and in a clear, engaging way. I am always shocked that these men on the street, you know, there's many comedians and late night hosts who have done this over the years. And it turns out most people have no idea how America works.
It is something that we don't stress enough in our schools as much as we used to. So today, only
even less, you think?
Even less. So only
That's so sad.
7 states today require at least a year of civics or government as a standalone course, K through 12.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild, and we used to teach it a lot more. From like 1945 to 1960, we had classes like U.S. history and government, civics, foundations of democracy everywhere in our schools, and so it's become deprioritized over the last few decades.
Is California one of the 7 states?
It is not. There is no standalone course. Now there is a course on democracy that's sort of shoehorned into social studies, but California is one of the states where there's no standalone civics course and there's no test required to graduate.
It's so fascinating. It seems like the basic things we need to live and understand the things we do every day aren't being taught in school.
Well, it's really, I don't blame teachers because there are educators that are doing great work, but it really is the fault of state lawmakers and school boards for not making this a required subject.
Yeah, well, why do you think civics education is being overlooked?
Well, I think in the past couple decades, laws like No Child Left Behind and Common Core and Every Student Succeeds have really prioritized reading and math and testing to those subjects. And so a lot of schools, are held accountable for how their students do in those subjects, and you can even lose funding if your students are doing continually bad in those subjects. So it's really a matter of deprioritization.
Okay, you started with the question there about the Electoral College. That seemed to go okay. What did you think? You're not pleased with the answer.
No, I mean, everyone, like you said, everyone was in the ballpark, but it's such a confusing topic because, it goes back to the Constitutional Convention in 1787. This is one of the last things that they decided at the convention. There's a lot of debate on how we should pick a president. Some people said Congress should do it. Some people said state lawmakers. Some people said a popular vote. But ultimately, they decided against a popular vote because they didn't think people like us could make a responsible decision.
Well, I wonder why they thought that. Okay, so some of the topics you tackle in this Electoral College, things like where our tax dollars go, political parties, do you find in general most people don't know this stuff?
I think that when I was interviewing people on the street, there was a lot more agreement across the ideological spectrum. When you kind of take the politics out of it and just talk about issues like, is it fair that billionaires have the ability to spend unlimited money to influence our elections, you'll find agreement across the political spectrum. So it seems like when you boil down the issues and isolate those and take the partisanship and politics out of it, there actually is a lot of agreement.
I think we find that even in polling a lot of the times, right? And that's where it gets confusing as to, so I think the show actually can kind of be like insight into where we're at as a society. What I love about this though, because I love really digestible stuff, it's 15 minutes.
Sometimes even shorter.
And it's a 12-part series, so it's not like it's going to go on and on and on and on. You can actually sit down as a family and watch these.
I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I had parents who
that
worked
makes sense.
in and with
I was just about to ask.
Civics was in the air.
Right.
But I had parents who both worked in and with the federal government, and they would give me civics lessons over dinner. And so from a young age, I would get these, and so I kind of wanted to turn around and create for everyone what I got as a kid.
That's really cool.
But I love, though, that, like, I feel like if I was a kid, I'd be like, could you shut up about this?
Sometimes it was boring.
Or did you turn into the adult who was just like, America's dumb? Like, you just looked at everybody and were like, nobody knows anything.
Well, I would get, like, my mom would draw the Capitol, and she'd put the number 100 on one side and 435 on the other, and that was my lesson on, the two houses of Congress. And, the Capitol wasn't particularly well drawn. No offense, Mom. But, like, I would get these sort of...
Hey, go easy on your mom. She
did a great job. And, the work that she did, many years ago led to this.
Why? What is your favorite topic you've covered so far?
I was really fascinated to talk about political parties because I think that we sort of have a two-party system right now, and obviously we're a very polarized country. And talking about how we got to this place where we really only do have two viable parties. U.S. territories was a fascinating episode. I went to Puerto Rico and talked to people in the Puerto Rican government about why Puerto Rico isn't a state. Should it be a state? Should it be an independent country? The filibuster. And one really fascinating topic was, could there be another constitutional convention to amend the Constitution?
Interesting.
Did you find one common theme amongst your travels?
I think that people really do care about understanding the government, and that I was surprised how often people were taking the initiative to learn themselves, and people really want to get engaged. And it made me even more disappointed that this isn't a required class in schools, because clearly the desire is there.
Absolutely.
But it's just a lack of resources.
Well, Ben, thanks to your parents, we're getting it through you. So thank you to them. Thank you for being with us. I will be watching every episode.
Yeah,
a new episode of Civics Made Easy drops every Thursday. It can be seen on pbs.org. And for more information, check out the website, kcalnews.com, and click Seen on TV. Y'all better go study in case you run into Ben on the street and he puts that microphone in your face.